Welcome to the Enhanced Living Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Kruger. I believe that we all have within us the power to be everything that we are meant to be and so much more. This show is a weekly dose of practical and spiritual principles, strategies, tips, and ideas to help you grow into the best version of yourself. Here's to becoming exactly who you were meant to become. I've been called a human Swiss Army knife because I'm a TV host, inspirational speaker and coach, live event MC and DJ, certified yoga and Ayurveda teacher, functional fitness enthusiast, author, husband, and dad with a voracious appetite for knowledge, and I'll be sharing real talks with successful people from all walks of life, spiritual teachers and masters, and experts in many different fields. I'll also share my own perspective that I've gained from over 20 years of diligent meditation and spiritual work so we can all experience enhanced living. Are you ready to evolve? Let's do this. Welcome back. So I think looking at the title of today's episode, you might think, wow, that's totally counter to what enhanced living is actually all about. And I'm going to tell you right now, straight up, it is absolutely not. It is totally in line with everything that I am trying to achieve here on this program. And so let's dive into it, okay? You've for sure run into people who have said, oh, good vibes only, man, good vibes only. And meanwhile, there's, everything's maybe going to hell in a handbasket around them. And they're just like, no, everything's fine. You've even seen the meme of the dog sitting there at the table and the whole house is on fire and no, this is fine. It's just fine. Which is a very funny visual, actually, because it's not fine. The house is on fire. Get out of the house and then everything will be fine. And that's a really good metaphor for why I think that good vibes only is completely useless when you're grieving or upset or in reality dealing with something that is really off-putting and you're not happy about your circumstance. In fact, it's not just useless, but it's toxic. So being really positive and being truly positive, and I even posted about this on Facebook not too long ago, it isn't about sticking your head in the sand and ignoring the undesirable circumstances you're facing. It's not about that. That's not a positive attitude. That is a denying reality attitude. And while focusing on the good is definitely something that I highly recommend. And I don't want to say preach it, but, they say practice what you preach. And I do really focus on the good. I do focus on what I'm looking to manifest and bring into my life. And in all reality, you can't change your current, and I'm using air quotes, reality without actually visualizing and seeing and feeling about the reality that you choose to have in your life. So I think that good vibes only is meant to put you in that perspective. However, what it does is it tends to make you feel like if things are going horribly and you feel terribly about them, you should just focus on the positive and don't think about the negative. And while that's somewhat good advice, it's also really, really bad advice, because what happens when you try to focus on the positive while things are falling apart in front of your face is at your core, you don't feel good while you're focusing on your positive. And so the positive never actually comes. So it's not about sticking your head in the sand and ignoring whatever's going on around you. What it is about is not wallowing in the negativity. So I'm going to say that one more time. Being truly positive isn't about avoiding the negative circumstance or the thing that's going on that's got you feeling terrible. It's about acknowledging that circumstance and then don't sit there and wallow in it. I don't remember exactly who said this. It might have been Eckhart Tolle, but the quote is still relevant nonetheless. And I'm just saying that it's not attributed to me. I didn't make this up. But pain in life can be unavoidable. Your suffering is totally avoidable. So perfect example, if you are walking into your bedroom at night and you don't see the corner of the bedstand and you kick the bedstand and stub your toe, man, does that hurt. But and you can't avoid the pain that's going to come from kicking the nightstand. Trust me, we've all been there, I'm assuming, and it sucks. It hurts. But wallowing in it and getting upset at your bed or being upset that someone forgot to turn on the lights or whatever it is, all that is completely unnecessary. You have to look at the circumstance and go, okay, that happened. Let me deal with the pain from the situation. Let me see what I can do to move through it. And then you don't think about it again. That's what being positive is really all about. So a lot of people, obviously with the physical pain situation are going to say, well, yeah, that makes sense. Put a Band-Aid on or treat the injury and then move on. But how do you pull yourself out of a funk that comes from, I don't know, say you got demoted at your job, or you got fired, or you got broken up with, or you found out that your significant other was cheating, or there's a number of things that could happen that you would look at and go, oh my God, this is the end of my world. And it's really the same sort of scenario as the physical injury that you would deal with respect to the mental or emotional or psychological injury that you would be dealing with. It's the same sort of thing. You have to find a way to deal with the issue. In other words, heal yourself, and then you move on. Most of the time we sit here lamenting things that happened in our past because we never truly dealt with it in our present while it was happening. And so we'll go back and we'll replay the event in our minds over and over and over again, and understand that, you know, when you remember something and when you replay something in your head, you're not actually replaying the event as it happened. You're actually replaying your first memory of that event, which, by the way, changes over time because our memories are fallible, and this has been proven by science. So the best way to live life is to have a very short-term memory for the bad and a very long-term memory for the good. In fact, my mom is the one who said that to me. She remembers the good real easily and lets go of the bad. That's her motto. And it's really, really true. You have to let go of the negative to move forward in a positive direction. So again, how do you pull yourself out of the funk and move on? Well, number one, you have to realize, of course, that everything in life is temporary. Everything in life is temporary. The only thing that's permanent is your consciousness, your soul, the very aspect of your being, who you truly are. That is permanent. That has always existed. It always will exist, and it will never not exist. The only thing that's transitory with respect to you is everything else. Everything else is completely transient. It's going to disappear. Your personality changes over time. If you look at yourself now, I don't know how old you are listening right now, but however old you are in this moment, think back to who you were and how you thought 10 years ago. I guarantee you that you're not the same person you used to be. On a physical level, every 7 years, all of our cells have completely been renewed. So in other words, every 7 years, you are physically a whole new being. So therefore, when you look at it from that perspective, we are constantly changing, shifting, and evolving. And the only thing that ever stays the same is the soul, the consciousness, the awareness that is behind all of it, right? So when you start to realize that everything is temporary, and that applies to both the perceived good things and the perceived bad things. Now, I say perceived good things and perceived bad things because at the end of the day, every single thing that happens to us, every single thing that happens in life, not just to us, but everything that happens in life is just a thing that's happening. It is just a thing that happened. There is nothing that happens to you. There is nothing that happens because of whatever. It's literally just a thing. Our value judgments that we place on it are what make that thing good or bad. So an earthquake is just a thing that's happened. We call it bad because there's so much damage and destruction that happens to the people living on the earth when the earth shakes violently like that and buildings fall down and people die and whatever happens. So we look at that and we consider that bad. But if you look at it as just an event, it's that simple. It's just an event. And I'm not saying that from a cold and hard and callous place. I'm saying that from a perspective of everything that we perceive as good or perceive as bad is simply that. We perceive it that way. So when you start to realize that whatever you're going through is temporary and my perception of it is what creates the good or the bad, we'll understand that A, it's temporary, which means that if it's good or bad, it's going to pass and you're going to be met with a new circumstance soon. And then the perfect expression or the perfect saying or quote that I use all the time, and you know it, it's on the tip of you're thinking it right now, you're saying it out loud. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. Whatever it is, it will pass. If you're a parent and you have children, you know that every single phase of childhood is simply that. It's a phase. So you might be going absolutely bananas one day because your child just won't eat their food and they're throwing it around the kitchen. Hey, listen, that's a phase. It'll pass. You know, you're not going to be a 40-year-old man throwing food around the kitchen, right? That's just not the way it goes. So understand that everything is temporary and what we perceive is the value judgment. It's not the thing. So in other words, whatever's going on, it's not good or bad. We just perceive it that way. The second thing, so the first thing is understand that it's temporary. The second thing is when you have a solid daily practice of meditation. It helps you move through everything because you're able to experience yourself in a deeper way. So experiencing the depth of who you truly are, in my opinion, and in many opinions, I mean, I think you could probably do it through hypnosis, but I think the most efficient way to do it is through a steady and solid meditation practice. When you have a daily practice that you can fall back on and use as your cornerstone of your existence. And I can tell you this right now from personal experience, 1000% it works. When you have that, you will be able to experience the depths of yourself. You will know that all the things around you are temporary and the only permanence is who you truly are. And that helps move you through whatever the circumstance outside of you is. So I just want to say to everyone, and to anyone for that matter, don't deny other people's reality. If somebody is telling you that they're having a really hard time, don't look at them and say good vibes only. Don't even say that to yourself. Understand that it is okay to feel whatever's going on in your life. Feel it, understand it, because it's opening up something inside of you that you need to deal with for yourself. You need to experience this emotion, because if you don't experience this emotion, you're not going to learn the lesson that you need to learn. You're not going to achieve the thing that you're meant to achieve. So feel it, but move through it. Don't wallow. And just because someone's upset, like I say, don't deny their reality, but it doesn't mean you have to wallow with them either. So what does that mean? That means, hey, listen, if someone comes up to you and they're having a real tough time with something, go ahead, help them through it. Give them the advice, be the shoulder to cry on, but don't be the shoulder to cry on for weeks or months or days or years or whatever. Let them know, hey, listen, I'm here for you to move through this, but let's not wallow. Let's get over this. So I started this off by saying that good vibes only is actually toxic. And it truly is, in the sense that you have to acknowledge the reality of your situation, deal with it, heal it, and then move on. That's what being truly positive is. It's going, hey, you know what? Things are kind of sucky right now, but they're going to be better. And I'm going to make sure that they're better. That's what being truly positive is. So if you want to live by good vibes only, live it that way. Because when you live it that way, you're not denying reality, and you're going to actually move through to a better place so much more easily. Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Enhanced Living Podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast player. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, feel free to reach me directly at enhancedliving.net. Thanks for listening.